Welcome into PHLY Bets. I am your host, Jamie Lynch. This is all brought to you by the wonderful people at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Find out why it's never ordinary with Bet365 and use promo code PHLY365. When you sign up, you can get $200 in bonus bets that you can spend however you would like. All right. Happy Sunday to all. Still kind of reeling from last night's Alabama-Georgia game, which was one for the ages. If you listen to PHLY Bets the other day, we did like Alabama a lot. That got real interesting down the end. So hopefully some of that college earnings. I flip-flopped, though, on Penn State, and I hate myself for it. I liked Illinois to cover all week, and I flip-flopped final minute. Stupid bastard. All right, well, let's get into Sunday's action. It's just a lesson to all the gamblers out there. If your gut is telling you something all week long, don't flip-flop on your gut when it gets close to game time. Just stick with the gut. All right, some information about the NFL now through 3 weeks. The favorites are 30-19 straight up and 22-24 against the spread this season. The under has hit in 29 of 49 games thus far. Now, here's one that really jumps out to me. File away in your brain cage. Underdogs on the year of 5.5 points or more are 14-3 against the spread this season. So if you see dogs over 5.5, that's a live dog. 14-3, that's unbelievable. So keep that in mind with your dogs out there. Of lines over 5.5. All right, let's get in right to it. The Eagles and Buccaneers, and then we'll go through the full slate. Right now on Bet365, the Eagles have just dropped down from last night. They were -1.5 when I went to bed. They are currently -1 on the the Bet365 app. Over under on this one comes in at 42. When the line becomes 1, I seriously consider the money line. You can get no points involved and just get the Eagles straight up on the money line, -115 here. All right, the injury report on this one is extensive. It's all the good players. All right, glad we covered that. All the good players are out for both the Bucs and the Eagles. But in all seriousness, it is a lengthy one. Obviously, Britton Covey, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all out. Lane Johnson traveled with the team. There's speculation he's going to play. We're going to have to pay attention to that one as inactives come out in a little while. The Lane Johnson effect on the Eagles is real. With and without him, they are a much, much different team. So we'll find out what happens there. Now, a reason Saquon Barkley could have a good day. Vita Vea is questionable, and Cansey, they're two dog D tackles. Vea is questionable. Cansey is out. The Bucs have a lot of injuries on defense. Safety Antoine Winfield Jr. is also out. Rashad White is sick. He's questionable on the offensive side of the ball. Bucky Irvin also questionable with a hamstring. Wide receiver Cameron Johnson ankle. Their starting tackle is out. So the Bucs are maybe more beat up than the Eagles in this one. The weather down in Tampa today, it's going to be steamy. It's currently already like 86 there with humidity around 90%. There is chances of rain at kickoff. The highest chances in Tampa are around 1 to 2 o'clock this afternoon. It's going to be very humid, very sticky. So if you're a weather, interpreter in your bets, I would imagine this is going to be a tired bunch by the end with the humidity just being disgusting. So the same game parlay boost we got on the Bet365 homepage, we cooked up for the good people of PHLY, is a nice one. So you got Eagles money line, a Dallas Goedert score, and Saquon Barkley over 100 rushing yards on the day, boosted up to plus 1,100. I'm going to be taking that one. Some bets and trends in this game. Tampa Bay has been giving up 5.5 yards a play, 4.9 yards per rush attempt. So your Saquon Barkley player props today are probably in pretty good hands, especially if Vita Vea ends up being out and the middle of the D line for the Bucs is just gone. Eagles are 2-1 against the spread so far on the year. The Buccaneers also 2-1 against the spread. The over in Bucs games is just 1-2. The Eagles, here's one to keep in mind, are 0-4-1 against the spread in their last 5 as a road favorite. and the under is 4-1 in the Eagles' last 5 games. So if you had asked me, 2 weeks ago, are they going to? I just thought they were going to go 1-1 in these next 2. All of a sudden, with the Bucs being as injured as they are, the Eagles kind of getting a marquee come from behind victory last week. If Jalen Carter can go out there and dominate a game anywhere close to what he did last week, I actually like the Eagles to pull this one off. So I'm gonna lay the money line with the Birds there and dabble on that same game parlay as well. All right, next up here, we're just going to run through the games on Bet365 now. The next game up, Cincinnati Bengals, -4.5. Over-under on this one, 47. Got to lay -230 to get the Bengals on the money line. Andy Dalton-led Panthers, are they legit? The Bengals have been in a funk, so we'll see what happens. I do like the Bengals in this one. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to do it 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully this is the week where Joe Burrow and T. Higgins get going after T returned last week. Cincinnati has been a moneyline favorite twice this season, and they've lost both of those games. They're 1-2 on the year against the spread. They've yet to cover a spread of 4.5 or higher. Cincinnati games have gone over 2 of the 3 times so far this season. Carolina is allowing 6 yards per carry on carries from the shotgun formation. So if you want to keep Zach Moss in mind, he's seeing almost 60% of his rush attempts from the shotgun formation. If Carolina's allowing 6 yards of play, Zach Moss could be a guy you want to take a rushing over on today. T. Higgins returned last week from injury. He told fantasy players to bench him this weekend. Hopefully that was tongue in cheek, because here's why. If you want to look at some T. Higgins props, wide receiver ones this year against the Panthers are putting up very meek numbers. 2 catches for 11 yards, 2 catches for 26 yards, and 4 catches for 40 yards, while the wide receiver 2 for the opposition is accumulated 15 catches for 186 yards and 4 touchdowns. So if you perhaps want to take a T. Higgins touchdown on the day, I think that's a smart bet. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals there on that one. All right, next up is the Denver Broncos at the New York Jets. The Broncos are an 8-point road dog. Over-under on this one is 39.5. If you believe in the Broncos, you can get them at plus 325 on the money line. The Broncos, they're getting by with their defense right now. Bo Nix cannot really move the ball downfield. The Broncos defense is stout and carrying them. They tallied 7 sacks last week over Tampa Bay. The Jets are number 1 in the NFL on third down conversion rates so far at nearly 57% of their opportunity. The Jets have covered 3 straight matchups against AFC teams. The Jets are kind of on a little bit of a heater here. They've outscored their last 2 opponents 48-20. Jets are 2-0 against the spread and 2-0 to the under in the last 2 weeks. So they've kind of been a cover machine while they're blowing people out. Makes sense, right? Aaron Rodgers, a little bit of a heater himself. 624 yards, 5 touchdowns. Good for 6th in the NFL and only 1 pick this year. He's averaging 208 yards per game, 7.3 yards per attempt, while completing almost 68% of his passes. That would be a prime. I'm not going to touch this game, but that would be a prime New York Jets teaser option for me with the over and the Jets. I know a teaser is a sucker's bet to a lot of smart gamblers out there, but sometimes you can get a game you don't like and work it into something you might like. Next up is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Will they get a win? At the Houston Texans, Jaguars are plus 5.5. Over under on this one is 44.5. Plus 205 if you want the Jags on the money line. Could this be Doug Peterson's last game? Who knows? But things are not going well in Jacksonville. Joe Mixon is likely to miss this game, so that's an important one you want to keep an eye on during the inactives coming out in the next hour or so. Some trends here. CJ Stroud, he's killing my fantasy team this year, but nobody cares about that. He's also not surpassed his passing yard prop total in any of the 3 games so far. His passing yardage average this year is 236, which is 28 yards below his over-under in passing yards for the game. So if you want to, maybe you think this is the game he gets out of it, or maybe this is the game he continues on. So there's some information for you for CJ Stroud. Passing yards, Well, the Jaguars, if there was a week to do it, the Jaguars have the 30th ranked pass defense on the season, surrendering 252 yards per game through the air. So if you believe in CJ Stroud, today might be a nice one to think he bucks that. Maybe you take an alternate line and maybe he gets over 300. The Texans are 1-4-1 straight up at home against divisional opponents since the start of the season. Certainly don't love much here. I would lean Texans in this one for sure. Jacksonville Jaguars seem like just kind of a dumpster fire right now. All right, here's one I like. I like the Los Angeles Rams today. They're +3 at Chicago. Over under on this one comes in at 40.5. If you like the Rams straight up win, you can get them +135. Keenan Allen is trending towards playing for the Bears. Obviously, the Rams are down their two starting wide receivers, Cooper Kupp and Nakua. So big, but it didn't affect them last week in a comeback over the 49ers. The Rams have hit the over in 2 of 3 games, including last week against the Niners. The Bears have gone under in all 3 games this year. Rams are 1-2 against the spread, while the Bears are 2-1 against the spread. The Rams over has hit in 2 of 3 games, as we mentioned. And since Sean McVay took over the Rams head coach in 2017, the Rams are 3-1 against the Bears. The home team in the last 8 matchups between these two teams is 7-1. So definitely in favor of the Bears there. But I do like the Rams on the road a little bit here. So I'm going to take the dog in Chicago. Next up, Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is expected to play. This is one of the injuries of the weekend that gamblers and fantasy football players are going to be paying attention to. Looks like Jordan Love will be back. First time since week 1. That means no more Malik Willis, and that's good. The Packers -3, -150 on the money line. I do like the Packers. I think Sam Darnold has a back to earth moment, but Brian Flores and that Vikings defense is just nasty. Brian Flores is becoming the boogeyman out there. So it's good Jordan Love is back. If it was Malik Willis versus Brian Flores' defense, I wouldn't feel as good. The Packers have won 3 of the last 5 games in this series. They've scored 128 points in the last 5 head-to-head matchups. They're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games. The under has hit in 12 of the last 18 Vikings games. Green Bay is 5-1 against their spread in the last 6 home games. And the Vikings defense, we just talked about Brian Flores, they've only allowed 3 touchdowns this season. Green Bay averages 5.5 yards a carry, which is second in the NFL. So I would look at maybe some rushing overs there. I like the Packers to cover at home. If you want to buy the hook down to -2.5, I always think that's a smart decision. All right, the Saints are next up, and they have a couple injuries that they're paying attention to, including Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. They're going to be without their starting center. So the Saints are +2.5 in Atlanta. Over under on this one's 41.5. Saints on the money line +120. I do like the Saints here to pull this one off. Another road dog, but keep your eye on Alvin Kamara. It does look like he's trending towards playing as well as Olave. So that's big for the Saints offense. The Falcons have covered 4 of their last 6 games against the Saints. Remember, division games, doesn't matter how good one team is or not. They can always be battles. New Orleans is number 2 in the NFL in scoring, averaging 34 points a game, which makes what the Eagles did last week even more impressive. The Falcons are 28th in the NFL in rush defense, allowing 150 yards per game. So Alvin Kamara is going to have an opportunity to go off. The Falcons have played under the total in both home games so far on the year. They're now 9-17 at home, going back to 2021. They're a big under team at home. That's 65% of the time in the Mercedes Dome. Their games are going under. The Saints are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games as a road underdog, and 6 of the Falcons' last 8 home games have gone under the total number there. So I'm not a big under player because I hate rooting for not points, but obviously a lot of the trends on this one say go under. I do like the Saints as a road dog here, coming off the loss last week. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Justin Fields are -2.5 point road favorites in Indy. Over under on this one is 40.5. Got to lay -140 to get the Colts to get the Steelers as the favorite. Kind of like the Colts here as the home dog. Home dogs be barking. The Steelers have won 8 of their last 9 matchups straight up and covered the spread in 6 of those 9 games. 4 straight and 8 of the last 10 matchups between these two teams have gone over the total. The Steelers have hit the only game total over in 7 of their last 21 tries. That's like 33% they're hitting an over. So they're another prime under team. So far this year, Pittsburgh is perfect against the spread. The Steelers have allowed 10, 6, and 10 points in 3 games, making them the best scoring defense in the NFL. If you want to get real kinky, you could maybe mess around with some TJ Watts over tackles, or maybe a forced fumble or something. Like, that guy's a machine. The Steelers lead the NFL in red zone defense, keeping their opponents out of the end zone. Opponents are just scoring at 16.67% of the time into the red zone versus the Steelers. So Steelers, again, another team getting carried a little bit by their defense. I like the Colts as the home dog to kind of buck that trend a little bit. All right, next up, the New England Patriots at San Francisco 49ers. The Patriots are a 10.5-point road dog. Over under on this one, 40.5. You can get the Patriots at plus 425 on this one. Underdogs of 5 points, 5.5 points or more. Remember, we told you they're 14-3 against the spread this year. That trend tells you to take the Patriots. San Francisco is 1-3 against the spread this year. New England has covered the spread twice, so they're 2-1 against the spread. New England games have hit the over just once on the year. The over is 2-1 in 49ers games, under 1-2 in Patriots games. The Patriots under head coach Kyle Shanahan are just 21-23-1 against the spread as home favorites. I like the Patriots here. I'm going to go with that 5.5 point underdog trend. Give me the points and the Patriots. Maybe San Fran isn't the team that just steamrolled the NFC last year. Maybe we got to start thinking about them in this year's context. Next up, Washington Commanders plus 3.5 at the Arizona Cardinals. Over under on this one is 49. You can get the Commanders and Jaden Daniels on the money line at plus 155. The Cardinals have won 3 of the last 4 versus the Commanders. The Cardinals are 4th in scoring offense. I know Andrew, our producer, has Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy. Congrats on all your success. The Commanders have covered the spread in 4 of their last 5 away games against teams with losing records. 5 of the Commanders' last 6 road games have gone over the total, and the Washington Commanders have hit the total over in 7 of their last 10 away games. So trends here say to take the over. Probably won't touch much on the money line there, or just the spread in general, because don't really trust either of these teams yet. Kind of need one more week to figure out what both of them are. Next game, the Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders. Browns minus 2.5 on the road. Over under on this one low at 36.5. Browns on the money line minus 140. I do like the Browns in this one. Both teams on the year are 1-2 against the spread, but the road team has covered in every Cleveland game so far. Both teams are on overruns a little bit. The Browns over total has gone 7-3 in their last 10. The Raiders 4-1 to the over in their last 5. Cleveland just has 1 win against the spread this year. The Browns have not covered the spread when favored by 2.5 points or more in 2 opportunities. Las Vegas is 1-2 against the spread this year. This season, the Raiders have won against the spread win in 2 games as an underdog of 2.5 points or more. Games involving the Raiders have hit the over twice this year. The Browns have been favored by 2 points or more 2 times and have not covered the spread in any of them. I think they bucked that trend today. Give me the over and the Browns in this one. And then let's see. We got 425. Tom Brady on the call. The Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Chiefs are 7.5 point favorites. Over under on this one is 42. To get the Chiefs on the money line, you got to lay minus 380. The Chargers are 1-14 straight up of their last 15 as the underdog. The under is 13-1 in the Chargers' last 14 games played on a Sunday. That is wild. So this is telling you, another kind of prime for a teaser one, because the Chiefs are -6.5. That's a big spread. But the Chargers are 1-14 in their last 15 as the underdog. That's unbelievable. Chiefs are 2-1 against the spread on the year. They're 17-3 straight up in their last 20 games against the Chargers. This has been a one-sided matchup. The Chiefs are 18-4 straight up in their last 22 games on the road. Again, prime for a teaser. Chiefs are 15-2 in their last 17 divisional road games. They're just dominating the AFC West. The Chargers are 2-8 straight up and against the spread in the last 10 seasons before a bye. We'll see if Jim Harbaugh changes any of that there. The Chargers have lost 9 straight at home to Kansas City. Hard not to like the Chiefs in this one. Everything kind of tells you. And then Herbert's beat up on top of it. Yeah. All right, Sunday Night Football. We got the Buffalo Bills going to the Baltimore Ravens. The Bills are 2.5-point road dogs. Over under on this one, 46.5. You can grab the Bills plus 120 on the money line. I like the Ravens in this one. Give me the team at home with their back against the wall with that talent. In the last 19 seasons, 77 teams have started 3-0. 20 of those 77 were underdogs in their fourth game, and only 5 won outright. So 5 out of 77. That's unbelievable. Those 3-0 teams against the spread, they were just 39-38. The Ravens are 6-3 against the spread in their last 9 games as a favorite. The Bills are 3-0 against the spread on the season. Ravens are 1-2 on the season. Derrick Henry has scored a touchdown in 5 of his last 6 home games. And the last 3 Ravens home games have all gone over the total. So maybe a little Derrick Henry anytime touchdown prop for you there. But I like the Ravens a lot in this one. Give me the home dog. Well, not home dog, but the home team with the season basically on the line. All right, another doubleheader on Monday night. The Tennessee Titans plus 2.5 travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. 37 is the total on this one. If you want to grab the Titans on the money line, plus 115 in your favor. The Dolphins have failed to cover their last 5 games dating back to last season. This Titans defense ranks 5th in total defense, and the Titans have won 4 of their last 5 away games against teams with losing records. Hard to bet on the Dolphins right now with their quarterback situation. So give me the Titans. I'll take the road dog in that one. And then the final Monday night game, the Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. Seahawks only a 3.5-point road dog. Over under on this one, 46.5 plus 160 for Seattle. The Lions are 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games as the favorite. Seattle is 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games. Lions are 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. The over is 2-7 in Seattle's last 9 games. The Lions have covered in both of their matchups against the NFC West this season, and the under is 3-0 in Lions matchups against NFC teams this year. So the trends certainly tell you to take an under on that one. I'll take my chances with Detroit minus 3.5 at home in this one. So there you have it. There's some of the preview of today's games, tomorrow's games. Make sure you're using the Bet365 app. Use that code PHLY365 at sign up, and you can find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. So Andrew has a nice little graphic for you right now on the homepage of Bet365. Our boosted same-game parlay for you. Eagles money line, Dallas Goedert touchdown, Saquon Barkley over 100 rushing yards. That's boosted up to plus 1,100 right now on the homepage. Keep your eye out for it, PHLY custom boost. Then I like the Rams a lot. And I like the Packers a lot. So those are my 2 single game plays there. So a lot I like today. Best of luck to everyone out there gambling. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a problem and wants help, you can call or text 1-800-GAMBLER at any time. But make sure you're using the Bet365 app and tell your friends that gamble. There's $200 in bonus bets just waiting out there for you. So go grab it and let's turn it into some more profits. That's going to do it for us. Go Birds. We will be back on Thursday for the next edition of PHLY Bets. Thank you to our producer, Andrew Frazier. I am heading into the studio to do a little Eagles-Bucks game day action, so make sure you're checking out the pregame show, the halftime show, and, of course, the postgame show with Zach Berman, Vinny Curry, Bo Wolf, and Fran Duffy. It's going to be a good time. So go Birds. Good luck gambling on Sunday, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
We all silly like the mayor.